Hello, Baba and Nyonya. This month, I have a very special guest who is typical Peranakan and will share with us the Peranakan jewelry and the book of Mr. Chew Boon Lay. First is Gilbert Cheah. Gilbert wear many hats. Maybe you would like to share with us.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Peggy, for having me. The reason we're going to be talk about Chew Boon Lay is because he's my great-grandfather, and you guys would have heard about Boon Lay because there's a whole town named after him. I'm a fifth-generation Peranakan on both sides, both on my great-grandmother and great-grandfather's side, as well as on my father's side. My father came from Penang, but for this conversation, we're going to focus on my mother's side, which is Chew Boon Lay. Very briefly, I'm fifth-generation Peranakan. As I said, I used to be the managing director of Tatler Singapore for 12 years, and I now run a luxury consulting firm, and I work for American Vogue, and I work for Anna Wintour, which I'm very proud of. Yes. So I've always been in the sort of luxury and journalism field, and it's very true to my culture and my heritage because I love jewelry.
Yeah.
And
typical Peranakan.
Yeah, Peranakans love jewelry as well. I think that you guys have shown you a video of my family's jewelry, which you will show to the viewers.
Yes.
The jewelry, we took this out from the safe deposit box in the bank for the filming. I don't have it with me, but you can look at the video.
Yes.
It will contain a lot of the croissants, which are of course very popular in Peranakan culture, as well as bracelets and a gold belt that my grandmother had. The interesting thing about the jewelry was that it's not like now when you go to a store and you buy it. Back then, this jewelry was actually handcrafted in the 1930s before the war, and they actually had the craftsmen come to the house. My great-grandfather's house, which was on Devonshire Road. The craftsmen who were from Sri Lanka, of Sri Lankan descent, came to the house, and they had the gold and the diamonds, and they actually worked there for months crafting this jewelry for us.
In Singapore?
In Singapore, a family ancestral home in Devonshire Road.
Yes.
So I found that to be absolutely fascinating, and apparently, from what I found out later, is that the Sri Lankan craftsmen are among the best at making Peranakan jewelry in Singapore, and BP De Silva is one of them.
Yes.
They started making jewelry in Singapore, handcrafting it.
Yes.
So my family's jewelry, I know, was made by Sri Lankan craftsmen.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful legacy, and I'm very proud to be part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was, you told me about the year that your great-grandfather arrived, and also this jewelry was in Singapore since...
my great-grandfather came to Singapore in the 1870s, so it was a long time ago.
Yes.
He came with absolutely nothing. The story is actually very interesting, and let me just show you, because my cousins and I actually wrote a book called Chew Boon Lay, A Family Traces Its History, and that's my great-grandfather there. And the reason we did this book was because my cousin Amy, who was the one who spearheaded this, is a former librarian, and she had been collecting information about my family tree, and it's such a large family coming from Chew Boon Lay, that she thought that we should do a book about it. And so it was funded by my family, my aunts, and different relatives contributed to it. And my cousin Amy and two of my other cousins worked on this, doing the research and the writing, and we compiled photographs. And what's interesting about this book, I'll show you, is that it comes in a sleeve like that, right?
Yes.
But there's the book itself, and then there is the family trees, which are... Look at this. We had to actually chart the family tree because Mr. Chew Boon Lay and my great-grandmother had a lot of children. So I forget how many it was. I think we counted earlier, he had 11 children. Yes. And they each had lots of kids.
Yes.
So in fact, when we did this book is already quite old. This book was done in 2003 or so, 2002. There were already about 800 descendants from
the fifth generation, until your generation.
But now, since then, the past 20 years, there have been even more. So the family is very large. Obviously, I don't know them all. But so yeah, this is basically the descendants of Chew Boon Lay. So this, he came to Singapore from China. This here you can see is him, looking very much like a Chinaman, right? With his wife, who was from Malacca. So
Peranakan,
you can see Peranakan.
the dressing.
Yes, you can see she's already,
Yes.
So if I actually was to count from her, it goes back even more generations.
Yeah.
But counting from him, it would be 5 generations, I think. So, he came to Singapore, and it was very interesting because he was very young when he left China and went to Bangkok to work for an uncle of his. But he was very mistreated, and he decided to leave when he was about 15 years old to come to Singapore on his own. And he set sail on a Chinese junk to come to Singapore.
From Malacca.
From
China.
Bangkok. Left China, went to work in Bangkok. And then he was working for an uncle in Bangkok and did not have a good time, was mistreated, and decided to leave to come to Singapore. So they were sailing down. And it was very interesting because while they were sailing at sea, the boat started to sink, and they found that there was a leak. But when they went down under the level to check, they found that the leak had stopped because a sea snake had gone into the hole and plugged up the hole.
Yes.
So from that day onwards, so they were saved by a sea snake. So he always considered snakes to be a good luck sign after that, which is interesting. So when he came to Singapore, he started just selling things door to door, working wherever he could. And he became successful, and he built a biscuit factory called the Ho Ho Biscuit Factory, which was actually the first in Singapore to use Western machinery. It was very advanced. They brought in machinery from England to make these biscuits. And it's all in the book, so it's actually quite interesting. So you can see the first advertisements for it. It says Ho Ho Biscuit Factory. Yeah. And there was, you can see this is the factory photograph with all the workers.
Yes.
And his sons also worked in the factory. And you can see the machinery here. You can see, and he became very wealthy as a result of this. And when he decided to buy land to build some homes, one area that he looked at had a lot of snakes, and he thought it was a good sign. And that area turned out to be Devonshire Road, which is just off Orchard Road.
Yes.
So that was where our family compound was. It's where I grew up with my family. And you can see the photograph here. This was taken in 1976, 78. From the top of the Mandarin Hotel looking down, and you can see the homes. There were 4 big homes on this big plot of land in Devonshire Road.
So this road was the
Devonshire
row of the AI.
Yes,
This is a row of
exactly.
houses.
And then now this is what it is. Now it's a condominiums. So the homes were sold, But that's where I grew up. Here is a photograph. I love this photograph of him with his brothers.
Yeah.
This is my grandfather and his brothers. These are the sons of Chew Boon Lay. So you could tell that by then they were already a fairly wealthy family. This was 1905.
That's why I was about to ask the year because of the dressing.
I know.
So 1905.
1905 in Singapore, I mean, you'd think, I find it to be very amusing actually. It's quite a,
Modern jacket they're wearing.
Yeah, it's very sort of,
Yes.
definitely interesting, but you can see some of the sons here. So, and then this is my great-grandfather and great-grandmother, Chew Boon Lay and his wife, with some of their sons. And this photograph was taken in 1925. And then here is a portrait of the 2 of them.
Yeah, Baju Panjang.
Yes, the Batu Panjang of my great-grandmother, Mrs. Chew Boon Lay. That's her. Yeah. So it's a very rich family history, and I grew up in a very Peranakan way. This is my grandfather, who was the eldest son of Chew Boon Lay, Mr. Chew Hong Seng, and
That's your grandfather.
that's my grandfather. And that was his first wife. The first wife, he was married to her, and then they had, I think, 9 children, 8 or 9 children.
They're also Peranakan.
Well, I mean, they're all raised Peranakan,
Yeah.
yes, but she's also Peranakan, yes.
Yes.
And then she passed away. And then after that, he married my grandmother. And my grandmother was very Peranakan, as you can see, wearing the sarung kebaya. My grandmother only spoke Malay and Hokkien.
Yes, the Baba Malay.
Yes, Baba Malay. And that's my grandfather.
Yes.
This was them in the Devonshire Road house.
And you speak very well Baba Malay too. I heard that you were talking.
Yeah, well, I speak Baba Malay, but it's not proper Malay, right? Obviously, it's a patois. My grandmother raised us together, obviously my mom and dad, and she was so traditional. She would wear the sarung kebaya and she would makan sirih. You know the
Yes,
sirih
yes.
leaves, the betel nut? She did that, and every time I would watch her making it and was fascinated by the process. You know, she had a little sirih table
Yeah.
with the machine to cut the
To
betel
cut the-
nut,
yes, yeah.
the device, as well as the little condiment containers. And we still have a sirih
Do you?
tray, yes, somewhere here.
Can we see later?
I'll have to
maybe
go and
also?
look for it, actually. Yeah. This here is a family portrait that was taken in 1957. You can see here of the children. This is just the family of my grandfather. So you keep in mind that Chew Boon Lay had so many sons and daughters.
Right, yes.
And this is the eldest son's family. So it was
Yes.
already growing. You know,
Yes.
these are all my elder relatives back then. So this book basically will cover the families of each of the sons. And there are actually quite a lot of very notable people among his children. One of them, Chew Hock Leong, was the first CEO and chairman of OCBC Bank
I see.
in Singapore.
Yeah, yeah.
Back in the 1930s when OCBC was first founded. Can you imagine, OCBC back then? So, so in a nutshell, that's kind of, my family background. And this book is definitely a treasure for us. I do think it needs to be updated because this was done in 2002, 2003.
Yeah, if you update, please inform the Peranakan Association, maybe.
Oh, yes,
You know, we-
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, don't forget our literary festival.
Yes,
that
yes.
you will be as one of the panelists.
Yeah,
as
I'll
well.
have to, do a bit more research about my family to talk about that at
Yes.
a festival.
Yes.
And the family home. So people have asked how come Boon Lay town is named after him. It's because he used to own 1,000 acres of Boon Lay, of Jurong, the area there. So this was his land that he owned.
Do you own as a resident, own as a factory? What does he do with it?
It was rubber plantation.
Okay.
He owned rubber
Yeah.
plantations there. That's one of the ways that he had invested in it. So if you look at this map, it's quite amazing, of how it was back then, and how much land he actually owned there. So I guess when the government took over the land, they just decided to name it after him. So there is an MRT station, there's schools, the whole town named after
Boon Lay Station.
Yes, and I remember as a child, my mom telling me that, that Boon Lay is your great-grandfather. And there was always this family joke that if we drive there, we can anyhow drive because people will say, hey, you think it's your grandfather's road? I would say, actually, it's my great-grandfather's road. Yeah.
Good, thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, sure.
And I'm sure in our community, we all look forward to meet you at the Literary Festival in
Yes.
July.
Yeah.
And we already mentioned it in March, February's video, and then March video will repeat again for this.
Yes, I'll see you guys there then. That's going to be in July.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks,
Thank
Peggy.
you.
Thank you.
Gilbert Cheah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.